At a cost of $28 per acre for 140 acres, he raised chickens on the farm. Family ownership was passed down through the years to Samuel Beck, who transitioned the operation from a poultry farm to a dairy farm, and then to Samuel's son, Bob Black, who chose to focus on crop farming. At a cost of $28 per acre
Willow Run
for
farm
140
is owned
acres.
by Bob Black's son,
He raised
Clinton,
chickens on
and
the
his
farm.
wife, Jessica.
Crops grown on the farm include corn, wheat, soybeans, and alfalfa. On behalf of everyone in Pennsylvania's 13th Congressional District, I offer heartfelt congratulations to all members of the Black family on this notable recognition and express gratitude for their enduring commitment to one of Pennsylvania's most vital industries, and that is agriculture. Thank you. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to recognize Krista Pontius on her selection of the recipient of the 2025 Pennsylvania Golden Owl Award. Krista is a longtime agriculture teacher and the FFA advisor at Greenwood High School in Millerstown, Pennsylvania. With pride, Krista notes that she has devoted nearly 30 years to creating an FFA family at the high school. The Golden Owl Award is one of the most prestigious forms of recognition in agriculture education. Presented at the Pennsylvania FFA State Convention, the award honors teachers in the state of Pennsylvania who dedicate countless hours to improving the lives of their students. Pennsylvania Secretary of Agriculture Russ Redding described Krista as a natural teacher whose dedication makes a lasting impression on students in our communities. Most certainly, Krista is a source of pride for the entire district. On behalf of everyone in Pennsylvania's 13th Congressional District, I congratulate Krista and look forward to the continuation of her education for the community. Thank you, and I yield.
The chair recognizes the gentleman from Connecticut, Mr. Courtney, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, after months and months of President Trump insisting that his tariffs are not paid by Americans, insisting that tariffs don't drive up prices, insisting that there will be no exclusions or exemptions from his Liberation Day tariffs that he imposed back in April. On Friday afternoon, the White House very quietly released a statement that they, in fact, are exempting and carving out tariffs for a number of goods which were blindingly obvious were going to be costing more because we do not produce any of those goods here in this country. So included in his order is coffee, tea, fruit juices, tropical fruits, spices, bananas, oranges, and tomatoes. And obviously, you talk to anybody who's been in a grocery store lately, the prices for all of those have gone up by large margins, again, in the wake of the April tariffs that were put into place. Coffee is up 19%, bananas up 7%, oranges and lettuce up 3% and 4%. Again, it was so clear to anyone who actually was connected to the real world that grocery prices are going up. And that we had to take steps to carve out exemptions for the sake of American consumers and our working families and middle class, that it was amazing to see how the president in October was actually giving speeches where he said prices have come way down. We have gotten prices way down for groceries. That's the mentality which is in that White House. And again, these were tariffs that he imposed unilaterally without consulting Congress. And the question, though, is that it's good that, again, there's going to be some price relief for some of these items, which never should have been tariffed to begin with. But it begs the question about, well, what about the rest of the economy that is getting hammered by tariffs? The National Association of Home Builders announced after the tariffs were announced that it would raise the average cost of a new home by $11,000 because of the fact that so many parts and pieces that go into new home construction are imported. That's just a reality in our economy. And when we talk about the cost of living and affordability, If anything is close to maybe groceries, it's the cost of housing in terms of getting rents and new construction restarted. So what about that, Mr. President? Why don't we also look at what is clearly happening in our economy right now and provide relief for the American people who are groaning under the high cost of living? He has to look no further than the Conservative Tax Foundation, which again is a right-of-center economic think tank, whose analysis is that by October, tariffs have raised retail prices on all goods by nearly 5% relative to their pre-tariff trend line. And instead of solving high inflation, the Trump tariffs have continued it and in some instances increased it. This includes a 6% increase for imported goods and 4.3% for domestic goods, because a lot of our domestic goods incorporate items that, again, are imported from overseas. The fundamental problem here is that this president believed in his mind that he himself had the power to impose these tariffs. Let's be very clear. A tariff is a tax on imported goods. It is a tax. I'm from New England. Remember the Boston Tea Party? It was about a tariff on tea that the British government was trying to force the American colonists to pay. So right now, before the U.S. Supreme Court, there was a case was argued just a couple of weeks ago where, again, the plaintiffs powerfully stated that the president did not have the authority to impose those taxes back in April. That is an Article 1, Section 9 authority in the Constitution for the Congress. And for the sake of reestablishing the checks and balances in our country, and for the sake of the American economy, where issues like tariffs, which require a lot of analysis and are very complex and require Congress to be part of that decision-making. In fact, we are the decision-makers, according to the Constitution, that those tariffs should be struck down, and we should go back to basics, which is that when we deal with tax policy, it is the power of Congress that prevails in terms of making those kinds of decisions. And the harm that's been done to the economy, the harm that's been done to the middle class and working families because of the Trump tariffs that, again, were just unilaterally imposed and indiscriminately imposed against some countries that we actually have trade surpluses with, have to be rolled back. It is, again, an admission on Friday by the administration that their tariff policy has failed, and it's time for Congress to stand up and do its job and rebalance our economy. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The chair recognizes the gentlewoman from Iowa, Ms. Miller Meeks, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Speaking of taxes, the tax on the economy and the detriment to the economy when the Democrats shut down over the past 6 weeks makes me delighted to be back here in Congress doing the work of Iowa and the American people. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to highlight a critical investment for Iowa families, the $2.78 million in community project funding I secured for the Newton YMCA child care expansion. This funding will allow the Y to open 50 new child care slots, giving working parents in Jasper County the reliability and support they urgently need. Access to child care is not just a family issue, it is a workforce issue. When parents can't find child care, they can't work, which hurts local businesses and the entire economy. The Newton YMCA is a pillar of its community, and this expansion will allow it to serve more families, strengthen the workforce, and keep Newton and Jasper County growing. I'm proud to have secured this funding and will continue fighting for projects that support families and build a stronger future for Iowa's 1st District and Iowa. Mr. Speaker, I rise to highlight the $2 million in community project funding I secured for Jones Regional Medical Center in Maquoketa, Iowa, to build a permanent state-of-the-art medical simulation lab. For the past several years, JRMC has trained nurses out of 2 temporary trailers, and despite those challenges, their program continues to produce highly skilled providers who are urgently needed across Iowa, especially nurses and EMTs. This funding will create a 1,700 square foot advanced simulation center that will allow more students to graduate each year and expand training for high-demand medical fields. This investment strengthens Iowa's healthcare workforce, supports our rural hospitals, and ensures communities across Jones County have access to trained, qualified healthcare providers. I'm proud to have secured this funding and remain committed to strengthening healthcare access and workforce training across Iowa. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to recognize the $825,000 in community project funding I secured to restore critical healthcare access in Lee County through the Keokuk Area Hospital Project. Since Keokuk lost its hospital in 2022, residents have faced delays in emergency and specialty care. No community should be left without emergency services or forced to travel over an hour for life-saving treatment. This funding will help reopen emergency services and create outpatient specialty care, closing a major gap in healthcare access and restoring the safety net Lee County deserves. The CEO of Insight said that it was pivotal in establishing these services. This is about saving lives, strengthening rural healthcare, and giving families peace of mind. I'm proud to have secured this investment and will continue working to ensure rural Iowans receive the same quality care as any American, no matter their zip code. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield back.
The chair recognizes the gentleman from Virginia, Mr. Subramaniam, for 5 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to celebrate the life and legacy of Cheryl Tate Macias Hamby, a devoted public servant, community leader, an example of what it truly means to have a life of service. And whether working in Congress or the executive branch, she approached every challenge with integrity and the belief that public service is about improving the lives of others. And her commitment to service extended far beyond her professional life. In Prince William County and across Virginia, Cheryl was a tireless volunteer and a civic leader through her work with the Rotary Club, the Scouts, and numerous community organizations. Cheryl also served as the chair of the Prince William County Democrats and brought people together, built bridges, and inspired others to lead with heart. Cheryl's legacy and memory will live on through all the lives that she touched and the communities she strengthened. My heart goes out to Cheryl's family. May she rest in peace. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to celebrate the life and legacy of J. Hamilton Lambert, a devoted public servant, a steady leader, and a Virginian who made a lasting difference. Through his many years of service, J. Lambert focused on making local government work better for the people it serves, and his service continued long after his government career. Through his work with the Claude Moore Charitable Foundation, he helped create opportunities for young people, especially those training for careers in medical fields, and thousands of students have benefited from programs he helped grow, giving them the skills they need to build a brighter future. He carried himself with humility, sharp insight, and a quick sense of humor, and he always put the people around him first. And Mr. Speaker, his legacy will live on in the people he helped and the programs he strengthened and the communities across Virginia and especially in Loudoun County that are better because of his service. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to congratulate the Brentsville High School girls flag football team on winning the inaugural flag football championship. This fall marked the first year for girls flag football as a club sport in Prince William County, and the girls flag football team was part of a growing trend. It's one of the fastest growing sports in the country. 12 Prince William High School teams competed in an 8-game season and a postseason tournament, and on Saturday, Brentsville defeated Patriot High School 15-6, completing a perfect 11-0 season. This victory for Brentsville High School reflects their teamwork and determination, and they are really good. I actually checked out some of their highlights on YouTube. I encourage everyone to go to a game next year. Congratulations to the girls and Coach Baltimore on your undefeated season. You have made Brentsville and an entire community proud. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to speak about a critical moment of hope and opportunity for the Syrian people. For the past decade, Syrians have experienced civil war, mass destruction, hundreds of thousands of deaths, and millions of displacements. But with the fall of the Assad regime and the transition to a new administration today, we have a window of opportunity to support the Syrian people as they seek to achieve a free and democratic future, a future defined by economic stability, a future strengthened by robust infrastructure, and a future fueled by thriving business and free from repression. I'm proud to support legislation that offers sanctions relief for Syria, opening the door to new investments from partners around the world. And it is my hope that together we can turn this moment into a brighter future for the Syrian people and for Syrian Americans. Finally, Mr. Speaker, I want to congratulate the Light Ridge High School Marching Band for being invited to march in the 2027 London Parade. This is a huge honor. This is a really big deal, and they were actually the first to be announced as being a part of that parade of all the high schools. And they are really good, actually. I had a chance to hear them perform live and be there when they were awarded this honor. They even played Golden from K-pop Demon Hunters. My kids listened to that on repeat, and so I appreciate them doing that, and I appreciate them representing our community so well. Congratulations to Director Dan Adams and the entire Light Ridge community, and good luck in 2027. I yield back.
The chair recognizes the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Self, for 5 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to recognize 22 of our nation's finest veterans. These individuals are exceptional American heroes who demonstrated selfless commitment to serving our nation and their communities. This is a moment to acknowledge those who have sacrificed much and devoted all to safeguard our country. This year, Texas 3rd District is saluting brave veterans who have exhibited remarkable service, leadership, integrity, and dedication. These veterans represent true role models within our community, deserving our utmost respect, acknowledgement, and honor. The veterans from Texas 3rd Congressional District receiving the 2025 Veteran Commendation Award are as follows. Sergeant Christopher Acevedo, U.S. Army. Captain Travis Mills, U.S. Army. Major Gary Billings, U.S. Marine Corps. Second Lieutenant Charles Newbecker, U.S. Army. Master Sergeant Fernando Cruz, Jr., U.S. Marine Corps. Senior Chief Petty Officer Vincent Riggs, U.S. Navy. Senior Airman David Davis, U.S. Air Force. Major Philip Shortino, U.S. Army. Staff Sergeant David Dubé, U.S. Air Force. Senior Airman Danny Stasik, U.S. Air Force. Staff Sergeant Robert Dubé, U.S. Air Force. Sergeant Willie Frank Stevenson, U.S. Army. Master Sergeant Patrick Irvin, U.S. Air Force. Captain Ian Sullivan, U.S. Marine Corps. Sergeant Ayman Hatqua, U.S. Army. Colonel Dick Thompson, Jr., U.S. Air Force. Sergeant Paul David Hoke, U.S. Army. Chief Petty Officer Michael Thompson, Jr., U.S. Navy. Petty Officer 2nd Class James Johnson, U.S. Navy. Lance Corporal Frank Walker, Jr., U.S. Marine Corps. Command Master Chief Petty Officer Robert Jordan, U.S. Navy. Gunnery Sergeant Nick Mendoza, Jr., U.S. Marine Corps. To these 22 veterans, I salute you, God bless you, and God bless America. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to honor Captain Carol Young McGibbon, a distinguished graduate of the United States Military Academy at West Point. Commissioned into the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers in 1980 as part of the historic first class of female graduates, Captain McGibbon served our nation with distinction in leadership positions in Germany and beyond. Following her active duty service, Mrs. McGibbon dedicated 22 years to mentoring future Army leaders, assisting over 165 candidates in earning admission to West Point. Since 2003, Captain McGibbon has been a West Point admissions representative, and since 2006, the Congressional District Coordinator for Texas 3rd Congressional District. In that capacity, she served as the West Point Liaison Officer for 3 successive members of Congress, beginning with Congressman Sam Johnson from 2006 to 2018. Recognized by peers and leaders alike, Mrs. McGibbon received the Congressional Veteran Commendation Award from Congressman Sam Johnson in 2017, and the Ray Colvin Service Award from the West Point Society of North Texas in 2023. Captain McGibbon's legacy of service reaches well beyond her professional achievements. She met her late husband, Kevin Vance McGibbon, while they were classmates at the United States Military Academy, and they married in October of 1981 after graduation. Captain Kevin McGibbon served as an infantry officer in the U.S. Army stationed in Germany during the Cold War from 1980 to 1985, earning his Ranger Tab and Airborne Wings. Together, they raised 3 children who continue the proud tradition of military service, including officers and graduates of West Point and the U.S. Air Force. The Army Lacrosse Endowment stands as a testament to the enduring commitment of Carol and Kevin McGibbon to the values of West Point and the U.S. Army. Carol McGibbon's dedication to West Point and to our nation embodies the highest ideals of duty, honor, country. Therefore, I honor Captain Carol McGibbon for her lifetime of service to the United States, to West Point, and to the countless young men and women whose lives she has helped shape. And we extend our gratitude and best wishes upon her retirement as Academy Liaison Officer for West Point. The enduring legacy Captain Carol McGibbon leaves at West Point stands as a beacon for those who aspire to lead and serve, ensuring the Academy's proud tradition endures for generations to come. May God bless Captain Carol McGibbon. May God bless the United States of America. I yield back the balance of my time.
The chair recognizes the gentlewoman from New Mexico, Ms. Stansberry, for 5 minutes.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I would love to just say welcome back to the House of Representatives. This is our first full week back after the shutdown and the 54 days of lockout that we experienced here in this chamber after a completely wasteful, unavoidable, and painful shutdown that not only harmed families, workers, and our communities, but cost our country billions of dollars. It did not result ultimately in the fight to end the attacks on our health care. And so rather than coming back this week after our shutdown, the longest shutdown in history, to address the real issues that were at the heart of this debate, lowering health care costs, addressing the health care cliff, addressing the cost of food, addressing the cost of housing, what are we doing here this week? Attacking our public lands and opening them up for oil and gas drilling. This week, our colleagues across the aisle, fresh from their multi-week vacation, have come with a whole slew of special asks by special interests from the oil and gas industry. We have H.J. Res. 130, the Congressional Review Act to reverse a resource management plan that was developed with tribal consultation and public benefit to open the door to coal development in an area where communities have been abundantly clear that they do not want these attacks on these public lands because of the threats it poses to climate change, to public health, and to their future. Why are they ignoring what these communities have already said? And yet here we are voting on legislation this week that would repeal community-based strategies to protect our public lands. All three of the CRA measures that are scheduled to be voted on this week are literally put forward to open some of our nation's most sacred and treasured places. This includes opening protected areas in the Arctic that are not only important to protect for ecological, for wildlife, but for cultural reasons. Areas that our colleagues know tribal communities have fought for generations to protect. Areas that our colleagues know are sensitive. Areas that we know during the first Trump administration when they tried to sell them off to the lowest bidder, the oil and gas industry didn't even want to drill there. And yet here they are trying to reverse the protections that have been put in place to protect not only these important lands in the Arctic, but these sacred lands. Mr. Speaker, these bills not only impact these lands, but are part of a larger pattern that we see in this administration, revoking previous protections that have been put in place to respect not only the ecological importance of lands, but also sacred places. In fact, during the shutdown, tribes in my district received notice that the administration was considering repealing the protections for Chaco Canyon. Mr. Speaker, I want you to understand what Chaco Canyon is. It is a global World Heritage Site, but it is a sacred site. It is a place for generations Pueblo and Diné Navajo people have come to pray. It is a place where on a cold morning, standing on top of the mesa overlooking Pueblo Bonito, you can see the ancient cities, kivas, and sacred sites, not just below, but that stretch out across a landscape as far as you can see. Where you can walk in the footsteps of people who built these structures, and you understand why it is sacred. It is the ancestral homeland of the Pueblo people. It is a place where today religious leaders and community leaders continue to come for their religious practices. And it is a place that we have fought to protect for generations. And yet, in the middle of the longest government shutdown, as tribes could not even get basic programs and services to operate, could not figure out if their grants and their programs were able to continue to operate, could not get access to lands that were important to them, this administration had the gall to send a
Your time
letter
has expired.
to our tribes saying that they were going to revoke protections. So I am here to say we will fight back and we will defeat this effort. I yield back.
Pursuant to Clause 12A of Rule 1, the Chair declares the House in recess until 2 p.m. today.
The House will be in order. The prayer will be offered by Chaplain Kibben.
Would you pray with me? Eternal God, the source of our being, before we were born, you knew us. Our days were ordered long before even our bodies were formed. You have written into your book our past, our present, and our future. Such knowledge is too wonderful for us. In awe we approach you, for we have assumed our own purpose rather than yielding to your own. We have pursued our own will and failed to seek your will for us. Redeeming God, your works are full of wonder, and your grace has surrounded us with your mercy, hemming us in and guarding us from our waywardness. By the presence of your Holy Spirit, guide us in the way you would have us go. Your thoughts, your plans are more numerous than the grains of sand. In your eternity, may we find peace in our time. In your grace plan, may we find our true meaning. And in our lives, may we glorify you and live to show forth your kingdom in our midst. In your sovereign name we pray. Amen.
Amen. The chair has examined the journal of the last day's proceedings and announces to the House the approval thereof. Pursuant to Clause 1 of Rule 1, the journal stands approved. The Pledge of Allegiance will be led by the gentleman from South Carolina, Mr. Wilson.
Everyone, including our guests in the gallery, are invited to participate.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The chair will entertain requests for 1-minute speeches on each side of the aisle. For what purpose does the gentleman from South Carolina seek recognition? Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. President Donald Trump has another historic achievement for peace and prosperity in the Middle East to reducing threats to Americans at home and abroad. The Wall Street Journal reported Monday, quote, Syria has joined the U.S.-led mission to defeat Islamic State after President Trump and Syrian President Ahmad al-Shara met at the White House, end of quote. This meeting was the first of a Syrian head of state to visit the White House in the 8,000-year history of Damascus. It was promoted by Ambassador Tom Barrack, the tireless Trump envoy for Syria, and Admiral Brad Cooper, head of the U.S. Central Command. I personally appreciate the Trump triumph, as last November I was condemned by the Syrian dictator Assad as an enemy of the state, weeks before he fled to Moscow. Then 8 months later, I was a guest in the Damascus office of Assad with the new president and Senator Jean Shaheen. In conclusion, God bless our troops. As the global war on terrorism continues, Trump is reinstituting peace through strength, revealing war criminal Putin lies, insulting Trump with attacks on civilians. I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Massachusetts seek recognition?
I seek unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute and to revise and extend my remarks.
Without objection, the gentlewoman is recognized for 1 minute.
Today I rise with pride, with gratitude, and with some bittersweet news. After nearly 8 years on Team Clark, Catherine Alexander, my communications director and senior advisor, is moving on to her next project and her next chapter. Catherine, affectionately known as K.A. to all of us, brings her incredible style, good humor, patriotism, compassion, and wicked smart strategy to all she does. It's been a privilege to have her in the trenches with me, from late-night press conferences to early morning interviews. And it will always be my distinct honor to call her my friend. Thank you, K.A. You are extraordinary. May this next chapter bring you and Mike and Nolan and baby Jude all the happiness and all the bliss that you deserve. Thank you, and I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentleman from Guam seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute and revise and extend my remarks.
Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today in honor of Calvo Enterprise, Inc., as it makes 50 years of service to the people of Guam. From its beginning in 1938 with the island's first locally owned insurance agency, the Calvo family built more than just businesses. They built opportunity for our island. Over the decades, Calvo Enterprise grew to include companies that became part of daily life, from Mid-Pacific Distributors and Pepsi Bottling Company to KUAM, giving our community a strong media voice, and Payless Supermarkets, helping provide food and essentials to our families. What we recognize today is not only business success, but a commitment to Guam through civic and charitable work, including the Edward M. Calvo Cancer Foundation, which has supported families during some of their most difficult moments. 3 generations later, the Calvo family continues to lead with the same values of hard work, integrity, and service to community, helping strengthen our island and create a future our children can rely on. To the Calvo family and every employee who contributed to this agency, thank you. And congratulations on 50 years of growing with Guam and for Guam. May the next 50 be just as strong. I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Iowa seek recognition? Without objection, the gentlewoman is now recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to highlight the $2 million in community project funding I secured for Jones Regional Medical Center in Anamosa to build a permanent state-of-the-art medical simulation lab. For the past several years, JRMC has trained nurses out of 2 temporary trailers, and despite those challenges, their program continues to produce highly skilled providers who are urgently needed across Iowa. This funding will create a 1,700 square foot advanced simulation center that will allow more students to graduate each year and expand training for high-demand medical fields. This investment strengthens Iowa's healthcare workforce, supports our rural hospitals, and ensures communities across Jones County have access to trained, qualified providers. I am proud to have secured this funding and remain committed to strengthening healthcare access and training across Iowa. Mr. Speaker, I would like to wish a very happy birthday to Ambassador and Iowa's longest-serving governor, Governor Terry Branstad. Happy birthday, Ambassador and Governor Branstad. With that, I yield back.
The chair lays before the House a communication.
The Honorable, the Speaker, House of Representatives, sir. In the wake of the late Congressman Grijalva's passing, it has been an honor to wave onto the Education and Workforce Committee and contribute to its work during this transitional period. With the recent and long overdue swearing in of Adelita Grijalva, I respectfully remove myself from the Education and Workforce Committee to ensure she can assume this role seamlessly. Signed sincerely, Yasmin Ansari, Member of Congress.
Without objection, the resignation is accepted. The chair lays before the House the following enrolled bill.
H.R. 695, an act to amend Title 38 United States Code to increase the rate of the special pension payable to Medal of Honor recipients and for other purposes.
Pursuant to Clause 12A of Rule 1, the chair declares the House in recess subject to the call of the chair.